Have you guys ever thought about the many ways you can do one thing in Roblox Studio? If you have, I recommend you guys think about that because there are so many methods, but which one is truly the best one and the one that you should be using out of all those many methods? Well, let's get right into it. So I'm going to be running with the block animation wherein the block moves up and down type thing throughout the video, so you keep that in mind. So let's say I wanted to animate a part. And you were given a task to animate a part that moves up and down or even just move up in a straight line. Well, the first thing you would probably think of is to use TweenService. And it's really simple, right? It's just using basic TweenService. So I'm going to insert a part. I'm going to make sure it's anchored. And we can just get right into, I'm going to make this a local script here. So enter a local script. And that's really easy. Well, we just begin by defining TweenService, because obviously that's what we're going to use, and we're also going to get our parts in our game in our workspace just like that. And even you guys may want to define some tween info to mess around with your tween. So like info is equal to tween info dot new, say 3 seconds, enum easing style linear, all the basic stuff, and then enum dot easing direction dot, I'm just going to say outs, repeat count 0, reverse is actually true. I want it to reverse, and I'm going to say delay time is, I keep messing this up. If I wanted to make this run forever, guys, I have to set this to -1, and then delay time between each one, I'm just going to set that to 0, so it goes immediately. And it is as straightforward as you can get. You would say TweenService creates, put in your parts, put in your tween info, and then say position, for example, will be equal to parts.position plus vector3.new. I'm going to say 0, 10, 0, and we are finally going to play this. Alright, so I set that time back to 1, as we can see, it moves the part up and down over and over again. It's really simple, really straightforward, but there are more methods than just using TweenService. So another method is while true do loops, and that's really simple, right? I'm just going to get our part again, so game.workspace, wait for child parts, and then we would say while true do, we'd say part.position, we'll go to vector parts.position once again, vector3.new, 0, 10, actually 0.1, because this is going to keep going over and over again, and we're going to say task.wait. Very simple. I would say that this is not as good as TweenService, because if you wanted to make this go back down, that would be really hard, and because it's a loop running forever, so that'd be a lot of if statements. But this is another method of I guess animating a parts. So if you were to again head into your game, well, it keeps going on forever. It doesn't go back down because that is really complex to do in a loop like this, but it still works. Probably not as good as TweenService, but another method. And we can start getting a little more advanced with this, okay? So we're going to keep our parts, but we're also going to get RunService. Alright, so we're going to start getting RunService into here, and we're going to make a sine wave. So basically, the part will move on a sine wave kind of motion. So I'm going to say amplitude, which is sine wave configuration stuff. Amplitude and frequency will be 1, and I'm going to say initial position will be the part's starting position, basically. Probably should have defined that up here, but just an example. And so we are going to then say RunService, RenderStepped, connect function, and now this will start making our own sine wave. Again, ignore this happens every video. And now we're going to say local time is equal to tick to, well, I'm going to capitalize the T. Time is equal to tick. So we can then get that time and make it move in that motion. We are then going to say local Y offset. Offset is equal to amplitude, and then times math.sin, sine. And we're in here going to say 2 times math.pi, and then times frequency times time, just like this. That is our Y offset. I think that's all good. It should be. And we're then going to say our new position, we're going to set our new position variable will be the initial position plus vector3 dot new, and we're going to say y offset 0, so set on the y offset, and finally part dot position will be equal to that new position. So it uses the time, the Unix epoch to use this to move in that motion, as well as putting in sine waves and using pi, forming the sine wave and everything like that. So getting a little bit more complex than our usual loops and TweenService. Head into your game and it's a little bit weird because it's going to the floor, but it still works. It is still moving up and down, and we can change the values as I said earlier. Let's move this up and we can actually see it. There you guys go. So you can change the amplitude, which is the height that it goes. Frequency, it's, if we were to make this like 5, it would be really frequent. As you can see there, amplitude is the height again. So if we were to set this to maybe 10, then it goes a little bit higher. The speed is, speed is so fast that, it's kind of hard to tell. But, another method to prove that programming can be a little bit more complex because of all these methods. But I have one more code example for you guys. Now, this is a method that I bet you guys probably haven't seen, and we're going to start off by getting the RunService and TweenService, alright? And again, we're going to get our parts, so game, workspace, child, parts, and we are then going to get the origin position of our parts, so part.position. I think this actually will be CFrame. CFrame, yeah, okay. And we're going to get a start time, but it's not going to be time. It's not going to be tick, it's going to be time. And then we're going to get some configurations like duration is equal to 6, and local height is equal to 5. Stick with me here, guys. I'll explain everything as soon as I type it. So we're then going to say while true do. Alright, and we're going to say local dur, because I don't know what else to name it, is equal to math.min, minimum, and then we're going to say time minus start, and then comma duration. We're then going to get a ratio, which will be this divided by our duration, and we're going to plug this duration into TweenService get value, and that will give us an alpha value. So we'll go alpha is equal to TweenService get value, and we're going to put in our ratio, and we can define some other things like enum, using styles. Like I'm just going to put in the basic linear and direction out. Okay, and then we are going to go down and get another value. Again, this is kind of placeholder stuff. I don't really know what to name a lot of these things. But we are going to say math.sin alpha times math dot pi. And then we're going to get a y offset. Now this is for if you guys want to make it bigger, basically. So that is what that height is for. That height variable. If you want to add more height to it, that's basically all it does. And then we're going to get a CFrame value, which is something called CF. We'll go to our origin times CFrame.new, and then our y offset on the y-axis, just like I have here. And then I'm going to say parts.CFrame. We'll go to this CFrame value, and then I'm going to make sure we can stop it when it's done. So if this greater than or equal to duration, then we're going to break and stop right there. But this will actually crash our game if we don't have a wait. So we're going to say RunService RenderStepped : wait. Now let me actually explain this. I've kind of explained the variables, so I don't really think I have to explain this. But in the first line here, there's a while to do loop. It's going to run forever. So in the first line, when we have this variable right here, we're basically calculating the amount of time that has happened since the start of the script and the current time, but caps it at the duration value. Alright, and now when we go back to ratio, it basically divides this, so it returns a value between 0 and 1. I think that's how this works. And then we are plugging it into the TweenService get value, which will I think this is what will turn it to a 0 to 1 value, and we can configure the tween of the ratio by using the styles and the direction that we give it. And then down here, basically this is saying it is calculating a sine wave that is based on this alpha variable that we got from TweenService, and we also create the y offset, which again is how we can add that height to it. And then down here it's just, creating a whole new CFrame thing and setting it, and this is making sure that we don't overshoot our target, so everything is all good. You guys, this is hard to explain, but you guys will see it in just a second. So I'm going to go back and change this. So let's say duration is equal to 1 and height is equal to something like 3. So I put my part back on the ground, it's anchored, play the game, and it goes up and then it goes down. Now, you guys might be wondering why this may be useful. Well, you could create a hammer effect, so let's say this was a piece of furniture and you wanted to place it in your game. Well, you could use this animation, and you could even configure it so it works with models to make like a hammer effect, so it goes up, goes down, you got some smoke particles or something, and it works. So really simple. Again, probably could use TweenService. One of the many ways to do one thing in Roblox Studio, and how programming can be sometimes difficult and very repetitive. And yeah, guys, this was today's video. If you guys did learn something from this video, or you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.